I'd like to make a brief statement about the food safety bill. Very much appreciate the opportunity now that this important legislation is shaping up to be a much better bill with the inclusion of my amendment for family scale producers, and it protects the jobs of family farmers and ranchers and processors. It really is time to get this bill passed and strengthen food safety for all Americans. I think there's little agreement that the necessity of this bill is real. I think that if you take a look at the impacts of recent E. coli outbreaks of salmonella and those kind of foodborne diseases out there, it is absolutely critical we get this bill passed. I had some concerns with this bill as it was originally introduced on its impacts to family-sized growers and processors. Fact of the matter is these folks are folks that really help build this country, and undue regulation on them, and I do think it would be undue regulation, would simply stop a movement in this country that has gone on since this country's inception, but more recently, we've kind of gone back to it with locally produced foods. So I think it's critically important that my amendment be a part of this bill, and I appreciate everybody who worked to make that happen. And here's why. We deal with consolidation in our energy sector. We deal with consolidation in our banking sector. We've done it since I've gotten here and before. We have consolidation in our food industry too. The fact is that we need to not encourage that consolidation. I think if we can get more locally grown food, if we can get producers that connect up with consumers eyeball to eyeball, that's a positive thing. And I don't want to diminish their ability to do this. My amendment really protects the ability for the farmer markets to flourish and provide food for people locally without shipping it halfway around the world and back again. And yet this bill also puts regulation on the industrialized folks that quite frankly, because of the size of their operation, because of them being highly mechanized, when a mistake is made, it can affect hundreds of thousands of people in 10, 20, 30 states. So this bill really is a win-win for the consumers, both locally and the consumers that deal with the more highly industrialized food suppliers. Now, people have asked me, you know, why do you think the small guys can even be regulated by the local and states regulators in this country? Well, first of all, they're small. There is a pride of ownership there that is real. They raise food. They don't raise a commodity as happens when the operations get bigger and bigger. And there is a direct customer relationship with that processor or that farmer that means a lot. And if a mistake is made, which rarely happens, it doesn't impact hundreds of thousands of people. We know exactly where the problem was, and we know exactly how to fix it. And so the traceability of the outbreaks is immediate and is taken care of without impacting 20, 30 states and hundreds of thousands of people. So as we move forward with this bill, I think it's incredibly important that we do things like we did in the last Farm Bill. Move forward with locally grown food. Move forward with that farmer's market kind of model that really helps people get to know the people who produce and process their food. We don't want to throw undue paperwork on those folks. They don't have the ability to do it. It takes them out of the field to do that. And quite honestly, as they move forth, the consumer and the connection with that consumer makes it so that local entities can do that regulation much better than us anyway. We've been over a pretty long road here over the last many months. I very much appreciate the work that Representative Dingell has done in the House on this bill. I very much appreciate the work that was done on my amendment over here. Kay Hagan in particular, a great senator from North Carolina, worked closely with me on this amendment, and her input was incredibly valuable. Also want to thank Senator Merkley and the work that he did on the amendment. I want to thank the consumer groups out there who I think we found a common sense solution to this issue, and many of the organizations out there that we work with over the last many months to make sure this bill meets the needs of the people, to make sure that we do address the issue of foodborne illnesses and safe food, but yet allow the little guys to grow, employ people, and allow that economy to get bigger and better as time goes on. So with that, I want to thank you, Madam Chair, for this opportunity to visit about this bill. Like I said, it's a very important bill that I think we need to get done. I think it makes sense for this country, and it makes sense for people in agriculture. Thank you very much.